Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Taraji P. Henson, Oscar nominee, SAG Award winner, current Emmy nominee. We're waiting just a little longer for those results this time around. But finally, we're here with this film that so many people have been waiting for, The Color Purple. You, of course, step into the shoes of Shug Avery. How excited are you for audiences to finally be able to see this?
I'm so excited because what we did was really, really special. We could feel it on the set. We feel it now as people are beginning to screen the movie. And you can tell when you have done something really good because the Q&As, no one leaves the theater.
I was at one of those Q&As and the screening, people are shouting throughout the movie. I mean, they're clapping for the performances, they're crying. I mean, there is something about being in an audience in the theater to
Mhm.
experience this film that feels different.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely different. I knew it would be when Blitz started telling me his radical, vision and the reimagining and giving, Celie an imagination. I just was like, whoa, this is gonna be, you could just tell. You could tell by the people he handpicked as cast members to be in the film. It was just anointed, if you will. Like you could just feel it. You could feel it. So you felt it, didn't you?
I did feel it, and I'll admit to you, I was nervous because anyone who knows me, I mean, when I was a kid, I liked Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Bruce Willis and Die Hard. The Color Purple for me, the original film, was the first one that made me see movies a totally different way. So that film really
Mhm.
means something to me. So I was nervous going into this, and this really did deliver and gives you that feeling. Were you apprehensive? And what was it like? What did the original film mean for you? And particularly Shug Avery.
Well, Shug Avery was a hero, you know. She was the voice for the women who didn't have a voice, like Celie, and Squeak and other women, from that little town that she left, that she, was so bold to live her life unapologetically. Because, this we're talking about the first generation of free slaves. And a lot of folk didn't leave the plantation because they just didn't know where to go. And the fact that she had the balls or the gumption to literally leave everything that she's ever known behind and go out and brave the world and make something of herself, like that's pretty heroic for those times. But yeah, when I first heard that I was being tapped for Suge, I was like, Suge who? And my manager was like, Suge Avery. I was like, for what? And they were like, The Color Purple. I was like, why are we doing that? It was during the pandemic. I was like, literally, it's the end of the world. We have no more stories to tell. But then I got on the phone with Blitz, and I just was blown away by his vision. And for me, I've done a lot of incredible films about incredible African Americans, but never really told by an African American, not directed by an African American. And there is a difference in us telling the story. I remember I did a film where I played a heavy set Black woman from the South with big bosom, and I used to get shipped down to the South every summer. I know those women really well, and I used in and my character, I would store a hanky in my bosom, and I would pull it out when I get mad, and I would whop, and I would wipe my top lip. But see, that's something we do in our culture, and it was missed each and every time, and it broke my heart for the women that I were portraying. So little things like that sometimes get overlooked or missed because you just don't know, like so I just knew I wanted to do this movie because it was us owning this narrative, us telling the story freely like we do in music. That's why the music is so, and everybody gets it because we're able to be free in our music. And sometimes in cinema we don't get that freedom because everyone has a say and how this should be and that should be. And it's like, well, I live it. I know how it should be.
Well, speaking of that music, I mean, we've seen you sing a little hook in Hustle and Flow and do some musical numbers throughout your career, but you really had to like let loose in this performance for sure. Talk about preparation for that and stepping into that part of yourself as a performer?
Oh wow, yeah. So, Shug was daunting to me because she sings gospel, she sings the blues, and she also sings jazz. And I was petrified because I hadn't sang like that and since college. I kind of left music behind once I became a mother in college. But I train really hard. I know how to work hard for anything I have to do. So I got with my musical theater, I mean my vocal coach, um, Stevie Mackey in LA. Once I was cast, I started working with him about 2 months before we even got to set because I wanted to make sure the music was in my body before we started adding the dialogue, before we started adding the choreography and the blocking. I wanted that music to be in me. Just like when a pianist sits down to play or a trumpet picks up a horn, they don't have to think about the notes. It's just kind of there. That's how I wanted the music to be. So I started listening to found a lot of incredible music of that era. Like I listened to a lot of Bessie Smith. I found this one incredible artist, Ida Cox, and she sang about how wild women don't have the blues, and I would sit in I would listen to her sing that, and I would sit in the bubble bath, and I would drink wine and just put myself there. And one song Pygmeat Terry was an artist I found, and Pygmeat sang about what was it? Oh, Black Sheep's with the blues. And I'm thinking about, my character Shug definitely was a black sheep of her era. She was definitely a wild woman. Um, but she did have the blues. She just had a way of covering it up. And that was through her big personality and her performance. And she hid behind her money and her material things, but she had the blues. There was a void she was trying to fill. And it wasn't until she met Celie, these two women taught each other the tenderness of unconditional love.
Did you have a favorite number or performance that you got to do? Like, what was the most fun?
I would have to say push the button.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something cool about coming in on that barge and, getting to really dance in a juke joint. Like, who can say that? Like,
And we get that Broadway music, but one of the things I love about this film is that it pays homage to the book and the original movie. We
Mm,
still get, although different versions, we still get Miss Celie's Blues. We still
mm.
get God's Trying to Tell You Something, and it's in a different context. And I thought that was really cool. You know, talk about being able to tap into that original film, but tell it through this new lens with Blitz's vision.
Well, that's what Blitz always he set out to do. He said, I want this to be a perfect combination of the original screenplay, the book, and the play. And I think he did a great job. That's what made me want to be a part of it. Now, I could not watch the film. I'm a great mimicker, so I don't, this is like the third kind of remake I've done in my career. And I've never watched the previous production before mine. I always have to treat it brand new, like I do all my characters and all the scripts that I get, because it is. It was very different. Yes, we're still dealing with the same story per se, but how we're telling it is very different. So, I treated it like a brand new script, like I'd never seen before, like
So
I'd
you
never
didn't,
seen Shug before.
so you went out of your way to not watch Margaret Avery's.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I mimic well and I wanted to make it mine. I needed fresh eyes. And she deserves to have her performance. You know what I mean? And I had spoken to her and she was like, baby, it's yours, make it yours. So that gave me the freedom to own it.
So you're gonna drop an album now or what?
Oh God, that's what everybody's saying. Oh goodness, the pressure.
You know, we have like the Beehive and Swifties now. When you were growing up, like when you were a teenager, who were you like? They have the best voice. Who was your Beyonce or Taylor Swift or whoever?
Oh, when I was growing up, no, well, Whitney Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I got that poster on my wall.
Yeah, Shaka Khan for sure for me. Oh, the cat, it's fine. Shaka Khan was one. Diana Ross was like, she's the Beyonce of my era for
Yeah.
sure.
And what's your favorite thing about Shug Avery? I mean, just her character, who she is.
Oh, it's the sweetness that she has. That's why her name is Shug, short for sugar, for sure. Yeah, she definitely has a sweetness and a tenderness there, that no one is able to really tap into. It's really Steely who um, is able to bring that out of her, because I think, well, for me, the backstory I did was that she hides behind her big personality. Even with all the men she lays with, none of them gets that tenderness that she showers Celie with, because I don't think anyone ever has really seen her. They idolize her, they sexualize her because of what she does, and she's like this enigma, but no one really sees her until she encounters Celie, and that's what she understands what real tender love is about. And it's interesting because it comes from a woman, not a man, not all the men that she's been sleeping around with.
And talk about the women in this film and the warmth and the sisterhood of working with Fantasia and Danielle and her, and I mean it's an incredible
Wow. It was just, I mean, listen, you got some of us who are more confident in the acting, and we've been doing acting more than others. And then we have others who, the music, that's their thing. And so we were there for each other. We encouraged each other. We made each other feel strong when we felt weak and the things that we weren't so confident about. It was just an incredible cast to work with. And now we've created a great bond, I think for life. It feels like I really like these people. I really enjoy them, and this press tour took a toll on us because we had a strike, and this, early mornings, late nights, and some days you just don't feel like it. But when I walk into the room and I see these beautiful faces, it just gives me another breath of life. So
And you've been fortunate to work with great ensembles in your career with Empire, but I think of Hidden
mhm,
Figures and comparing
mhm.
these, I mean, very different women, but there's something, similar in them as well. How
Yeah.
do you compare those two films in your mind?
Well, I just think it was a different time for women. Like back then, there was a certain village amongst people. Like, there wasn't crabs in a barrel. There wasn't I'm gonna put myself ahead of everyone else. Speaking of the women and Hidden Figures, like if someone was talented in whatever job that Nassau needed, then all the women got behind that woman and said, "This is the one you need." It wasn't like I'm gonna put myself first, or we're not gonna tell them about how smart she is because I think I have that. And even when I spoke to Katherine Johnson, may she rest in peace, she never used the word I. She always said, and we did this and we did that. So I paid particular attention to that when I met with her before we even went into principal photography for Hidden Figures. And even with these women here in the color purple, like Shug didn't have to come back. Shug didn't have to come and take Celie. Shug didn't have to do any of that. You saw how she was living. She never had to go back to that podunk town. But she went back because it was home, and she went back because she was in need of the love of her father, honestly.
And she had a lot of flash and sass. I spoke to Francine, the costume designer. Um,
Yeah.
Talk about how does that transform you as an actor, putting on,
Oh,
the red juke joint outfit. I mean, how do you feel when you're in something like that?
listen, you do all your work, right? You got your character, got it. You understand where it's coming from, where I just came from, beginning, all of that. You do your backstory. But something happens when you put that costume on. Like, that's why I allow departments to do their job. I'm not the actor that comes on set and like, I think I should wear. I don't have favorite colors. Like my job is to, because you've been hired to do a job, right? Hair has been hired, hair, makeup team, wardrobe, they all been hired because the director, the producers believe in them just like they believe in me to come and make those words pop. So I stay out of their way. My job as the actor is to make it all work. And so if I'm in the way, then um I might be stunting the growth of my character. You understand? I love props. I love when props comes and put a prop in my hand. I'll never forget when I did Benjamin Button, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Something simple as a cross They put a cross on my neck. And you could see me if you go back and watch, she'll grab that cross. I didn't think of that until they put the cross on my neck. So I love, like, especially period pieces, because the shoes are worn. And sometimes that'll help me with my character with a walk. I can't force my foot to fit in there because it's already been worn. So if my foot is slid off the shoe a little bit, then it's kind of going to affect my walk. So all of those things always help me with my characters. Literally, I love letting them go. I'm like, how do you see her? And then they'll add on to what I put on, and that's how you make a full realized character. I love it.
And what do you walk away from this role, and what part of Shug Avery will stay with you?
Oh my goodness. Her songs will stay with me forever. Yeah, because I didn't think I could do this. I really did not think I could pull this off. And she just gave me another way to look at my talent. It's not once upon a time, I'm like, no, I can't really sing. I have to own it now. Thanks, Shug.
Well, you certainly did, and congratulations on the film, the performance, and best of luck to you, the entire cast and crew, for everything coming up this award season and opening night, December 25th. Everyone can go finally see this movie that people have been waiting so long for.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.